Welcome to A Girl in Love with Tech podcast. My name is Rachel Irabor. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, a Dynamics 365 CRM developer, and a Microsoft Power Platform developer. So our guest for today is Chris Huntingford, who is
Hey,
absolutely amazing.
thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Super
Yeah,
exciting.
thank you. And today we are going to be talking about his experience with Microsoft Power Platform. So hi, Chris.
Hey, Rachel, thank you very much for having me. This is awesome. I love that you're doing this. Actually, it's really cool. I think
Yeah,
getting out
thank
to
you.
like a lot of people, and I love how like happy you are. It's so good to see a smiling face. So yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so if you can actually introduce yourself so that we can know more about you.
Yeah. So hey, everyone, my name is Chris Huntingford. I'm a low-code lead at a company called ANS, and we what we really do at this company is we do like loads of Dynamics 365, Power
Yeah.
Platform,
Okay.
security, and all that type of stuff. And what I do is I get to run
Yeah.
around and tell everyone how awesome Power Platform is. So that's literally
Yeah.
my role.
Awesome. That's a cool role. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty amazing. Like being able to do that every day. I love it. And I want to ask, how did you get to know about Power Platform? Like, how did you start your journey in Power Platform?
So in around 2008, so I used to work at a company called Borland, who wrote a tool called Delphi, and we're
Okay.
responsible for a number of other things like Turbo Pascal and stuff like that. So I used to
Okay.
write code and build solutions and all sorts of things. And
Yeah.
I moved when I was in South Africa. I moved to a company called Carabiner Solutions, and they
Well,
were doing Dynamics 365. Yeah, and this was around
yeah.
2008, 2009. So I started doing Dynamics from version 3, and then
Okay.
as the product grew and I moved to the UK, I started working for Hitachi Solutions, an amazing
Okay.
organization. And yeah,
Yeah.
I started doing Power Platform from the inception. So the day that they told us about Common Data Service version 1 was the
Okay.
day that I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started learning. I built my first Canvas app in 2015, which was not called Canvas Apps. It was Project
Yeah.
Sienna. That's what it used to be called, and
Okay.
it was actually Windows 10 apps really. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was when I started. So like I've been building in Power Platform literally from the day it was born, which is really fun because it's like I've gotten to see like where the product goes and how it's really
Yeah.
expanded. So yeah, it's been very exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like you grew with Power Platform. You basically grew with Power Platform. And that's
Yeah.
actually really nice. Yeah. So, as for our first listeners, maybe this is the first time you are listening to a Girl in Love with Tech podcast. This podcast is all about Microsoft Business Application. And hi, Chris, if you can explain to them what is Power Platform.
Cool. So it's actually quite simple, really. I think that a lot of people confuse Power Platform for Power Apps, which is what Canvas apps are. But Power Platform is effectively a pre-built box of digital building bricks that you can use to create really cool stuff. So if you
Yeah.
can imagine like Lego, so we all know what Lego is. Power
Yes,
Platform
I
is
do.
digital Lego. That's all it is. It's like pre-built stuff that you can use to make amazing things.
Yeah.
And it comes from the various areas of the Microsoft product stack. So the toolkit is growing and growing. Um,
Yeah.
and what Microsoft do is they keep on adding stuff, which is cool.
Yes, I
So in the
do.
beginning, yeah, in the beginning it was just really Canvas apps, and then
Yeah.
it's broken out into loads of other really awesome things like Power
Yeah.
Automate, Power Pages. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool, and just see it as a pre-built box of digital building bricks you can use to make stuff, right?
Yeah. And make amazing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how has your experience been with Power Platform? Like there's this perception, like from what you said, you're already a developer before coming into Power
Yeah.
Platform. So what there's this perception developers have, they think that okay, they based on there's that word that says Microsoft Power Platform is low code. They think they can't use the tools in Microsoft Power Platform or they can't work with Microsoft Power Platform. What do you think about this?
Like I think yes. Okay, there is a perception that like custom dev isn't part of the platform, but
Yeah.
let me give you a scenario, right? Okay.
Okay.
So you're sitting at home and or with nieces or nephews or kids or
Yeah.
whoever or just on your own and you're
Yeah.
playing Lego. Okay. And you decide you're going to make a really, really awesome fairy princess spaceship. So you start
Okay.
putting all the little bricks together and you're clicking them together one by one. And then you realize that, oh my goodness, you need a specific brick, but you can't find it. You
Okay.
can't go to Lego and get them to print that brick. That's not how they do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to make it. And that's kind of how it is like in Power Platform. Microsoft give you
Okay.
about 70% of the things you need to create the solutions you want to make. But
Yeah.
when you need something custom or you need something like really out there, you can't do it, and you can't do it yourself. You need a developer to do it. And actually,
Yeah.
all low code is somebody else's code. That's all it is. So
Okay.
actually, in the Power Platform space, the need for developers is actually way higher than anywhere else in the world,
Yeah,
right?
true. That's very true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the platform is never going to stop growing. Okay, we're never going to
Yeah.
stop adding things. So what I've started to find is that the need for people that can write code is actually growing more and more. Now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, not everyone can write code. I actually
Yes.
don't code anymore. I wish I
Yeah.
did, but I don't have to. And yeah,
Okay.
so I have to go to my friends and say, hey, one of my buddies, like my friend Craig White, I have to go to him and say, hey man, like I'm looking for this thing. I can't make it myself. Can you build it for me using code? And he's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So he'll make it for me,
That's
and then I
yeah.
can use that and share it with all my friends that are building solutions as well.
That's awesome. Like that's a very, very good scenario you used with Lego because people have that perception that okay, I already know how to build applications with code. Why use Microsoft Power Platform? It's easy. Like it's easy. You have instead of having so much longer period of building your application, you have a shorter period of time to solve business solution. So it's a very great example that you gave. So I want to ask, what is your day-to-day like working as an amazing lead on Power Platform? What is your day-to-day like? Yeah, at work.
It's interesting. So I actually do a lot of roles. I don't just do tech evangelism. I do
Okay.
everything from marketing to sales to pre-sales to delivery. I'm
Yeah.
actually doing a project right now where I'm in front of the organization I'm working with, like doing delivery. Um,
Okay.
so what I actually do is I invent products using the Power Platform. So I come up with things that are
Okay.
really
Wow.
cool that I think will help companies. And
Yeah.
then I go and sell them to the companies, and then I deliver them myself as well. And what
Yeah.
we're doing now at the company I work in is we're building a team of people that can do that. So we've got quite a few
Mm.
of us actually. I think there's
Okay.
more than like 20 or 30. I don't know.
Wow.
I
That's
must check.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So we all
Yeah.
work together to deliver these really cool things. And
Okay.
yeah, it's lots of fun. It's lots of hard work, but I feel like the place that I work now at ANS, we've had a lot
Yeah.
more room to do things differently. Like we don't
Okay.
just make apps ever. Like making an app, I think
Yeah.
we shouldn't be doing at all. I think that the organizations we work with should be making the apps. I think we
Yes.
should be providing the ecosystem for people to
Okay.
build the apps in. Yeah. And that's
Okay.
the thing. And I'll tell you something really quickly. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember some time back when Microsoft released Microsoft Office. Okay.
No,
You,
I haven't got it to
yeah.
take that.
I
Yeah.
remember when that came out.
Yeah.
And I remember that there were companies that paid people to make Excel documents. Did you know that?
Wow. No, I
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were companies that got paid to build Excel documents. Those companies don't really do that anymore, right? And I think
Okay.
in 5 years' time, in about 5 years' time, low code won't exist. I think that it'll be
Okay.
natural for everyone in the world to be
Yeah,
building
that's
apps
true.
and automations. I don't
Yeah.
think that we as companies will need to build those for people. So
Yeah.
we have to change the model from us making applications to us
Yeah.
supporting the ecosystem and the people that are
Yes.
making them. So that my day
That's
to day is not
yeah,
just about
that's
making apps.
actually really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually really nice. You know, you said Microsoft Office 365. I was lost at first before I listened to clearly.
Yeah.
I
Oh, don't worry. It's so funny though because like it's actually not that long ago. I mean, I remember like Office 1995. I remember tools that came at
yeah.
Office 1995, which is
Yeah.
crazy. I'm just showing my age.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool because I got to know about tech in I think 2021. That was November
Yeah.
2021. So I'm kind of late to the game.
Hey, it's cool. Let me tell you, you're never late to the
Yeah,
game. This stuff is
yeah,
for everyone. I say this to people all the time. Like
yeah,
Power Platform is for everyone. It's not just for technical people. Like you can be a
yeah,
developer.
true. Yeah,
But then also, like, look at my friends like Keith Watling and Martin
yeah,
Lee, and those guys were fixing windscreens and driving buses, and
yeah.
now they're top tier solution builders.
That's
So
amazing.
Yeah, it's not just for technical people. It is
No.
really about bringing. It's the most inclusive technology I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's
It's
amazing.
like there's something I say all the time, like it's a home for everybody. Like you don't have to be a developer to use Power Platform. Both developers, non-developers, like just come in.
Yeah,
Is that
it's cool.
yeah, it's
It's that
amazing.
fu- yeah, it's that fusion team concept of bringing non-technical people and technical people together
Yeah.
to make something really awesome.
Yes, and it's amazing. And there's one question I want to ask you. Like, there are so many persons that are hearing about Microsoft Power Platform, and they are quite amazed about what the things that they can actually build with Microsoft Power Platform, and they are thinking of either transitioning into a career in Microsoft Power Platform, or they are thinking that okay, in my current role, can I use the tools in Microsoft Power Platform? So, what do you say to this person?
Um, it's so scenario dependent, right? Like that's the same as asking, what can I
Yeah,
make in Excel? Like
yeah,
it's just it's endless, right? Like you can
yeah,
literally do anything. I feel like my favorite scenario
yeah,
and my favorite thing is talking to people about automation.
yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Like I think apps are cool, right? Like apps are fine, awesome. But I really think
Yeah.
automation is the way forward because that is, I'll give you an analogy. It's taking the robots out of the human. Like all
Okay.
those mundane, manual, boring things that we do, like capturing data, you can
Yes.
automate, right? So
Yeah.
like
True.
if I can automate the stuff that is boring, I can spend more time speaking to you and
Yes.
engaging you and letting the automation do the stuff that I don't want to do. And I feel
Yeah.
like
True.
the process that we're moving towards now in like by 2030, by 2020, well, 2030, yeah,
Yeah.
we won't need to be doing as many manual things. And I actually feel like
Yeah.
this platform drives quality of life
Yeah. It
because it,
does.
yeah, it gives us the opportunity to remove those irritatingly boring things and do stuff like
Yeah.
this. So this not
Yeah.
like when I say to people, when people ask me what can I make in Power Platform, I'm like, well, you can make anything. Literally, you can make
Yes.
anything.
You can.
But
Yeah.
my focus would be automate the things you don't want to do.
Okay. Yeah. True. That's true. Like there are so many persons. They have to maybe, for example, an Excel sheet. They have to send an Excel sheet to their manager every day, every day, every day at a particular time every day. So why not just automate it than sending it manually? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say, don't just make an app. Like an app is an easy thing, but an app is still
Yeah.
manual. You still have to do stuff,
Yes.
automate everything, right?
Yeah.
And actually, one of my friends, Anna Demini, so her and I used to work at
Yeah.
Microsoft together.
Yeah.
Anna had this thing called automate everything. Like she used to bring this up in conferences and things, and I love it. I
Okay.
think it's brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah, automate everything. Make life easier for yourself and more productive. Really a great
exactly.
advice. Yeah, really
Yeah.
great advice. So, and also one thing too, how do you think people can get started with Microsoft Power Platform?
So automatically, I think people would say go to Microsoft Learn, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's the right place to begin. I would
Okay.
say find a problem to solve.
Okay.
Like, what is something that is bothering you that you think you could solve with technology?
Yeah.
And your scenario of like sending the Excel document to the manager is a good one. But like,
Yes.
find something to solve. Okay, so for me,
Okay.
like every day of my life, Rachel, I'm always finding stuff that I can
Yeah.
use in Power Platform to solve problems. Like,
Yeah.
one of the examples I'll give you is that so I go to gym every day, and
Okay.
one of my buddies and I were chatting about it, and he's like, "Dude, how do you keep track of everything?" And I'm like, "Well, my watch does it, but
Wow.
I don't know in great detail, and I don't have a way to track
Okay.
everything properly." So he
Yeah,
made an
that's true.
application that allows us to track stuff, which is really
Wow.
cool, and that's a personal thing. But
Yeah.
in my work environments, I have to run assessments on organizations' maturity all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I did was I made a framework in Power Platform that allows me to run those
Wow.
assessments with full on reporting. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was really important, right? Because that framework
Yeah.
really helps me. It really, really helps me track and manage the progress that I can take organizations through.
Yes.
So find the problem. Think of something that is something that you don't want to do and you would rather
Yeah.
automate or not do manually. Then go to Microsoft Learn and then
And
start learning about the platform. Don't just learn.
yeah.
Find something that you want to find a problem to solve.
That's it. That's an amazing suggestion and advice because you get to it's like it directs you. maybe you're trying to do this and you have difficulty, you can actually check on Microsoft Learn. Okay, how can I do this? How can I achieve this? So that's a very great advice. And
Thank you.
yeah, and what you're doing too, I'm just shouting, wow, wow. I want to
That's
ask,
cool.
yeah, for people they have like maybe for me when I started, I had issues with deciding how to build projects before I started working. So I had issues with
Mm.
ideas on how to work on projects on Power Platform. Like maybe when you're on a, because it's advisable to actually build projects when looking for a role or to actually when learning to also build. So what do you think about projects for those who are actually looking out to build projects?
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because once you know the problem that you want to solve, the project will just naturally come.
Yeah.
I think what I do with one of my mentees, so he's a 19-year-old guy that I go to college with, so we both study together. I
Yeah.
give him like these mini projects to do. So his
Okay.
name's Louis. Yeah, he's a legend. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Louis,
I know him. It's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
he's awesome, man. So I'm like, Louis, I want to
Yeah.
do this, and he's like, cool, let's do it. So like he will then it's a micro project, so then he'll go and take the project on, he'll build something,
Yeah.
and then we'll test it out together. The cool thing with Power Platform is that you can fail fast. So
Yeah.
like if you make something and it doesn't work, that's cool, right? That's
Yeah. It's
totally
fine.
fine. Just try it again, try it another way. And I
Yeah.
think in the world of like formal projects back in the day when we all
Okay.
used to write, when people used to write code, you couldn't
Yeah.
just switch gears.
No.
Like you couldn't just start again. Whereas this stuff, it's like, cool,
Yeah.
let's just do it again. And then you can. But I say to folks all the time, building something in Power Platform is really easy. Like it's really
Yeah.
easy. Productionizing something in Power Platform is not so easy.
Okay.
And the reason is because it is like any other solution you build when you take it to production, you have to drive adoption and change. And that's where
Yes.
the hard part is. It's not got to do with the technology.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually great. And there's also some things too, like while learning, there's some things that projects will actually help you on than when reading. When reading, okay, you can see that, okay, this is how to build an app from Dataverse, directly from Dataverse, three screens, stuff like that. But when you're working on a project and you have a challenge, you can easily learn that, okay, this is how this challenge is solved, or this is how to actually work on this particular solution, or even learn new knowledges from people in the community, because there are so many people in the community who are posting blogs and they are also
Mm,
posting YouTube videos on Power Platform. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
So do you have any advice for our listeners?
Yeah. The advice I've got, and I think this comes in like it comes in the rule of three. The first one is
Yeah.
like you, Rachel, it is never, ever,
Okay.
ever too late to get into this stuff. You can
Yes.
be you can be an 18-year-old kid or a 16-year-old kid, or you can be a 70-year-old retiree, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's never too late. Like there's lots of cool things to learn here. So that's the first thing. And people say to me all the
Okay.
time, "Oh, I'm not this type of a person." I'm like, "Yeah, you are. You're totally
Yeah.
that type of a person. You're easily able to get into this stuff." I've
Yeah.
seen
True.
people that have got no tech background, and I've seen people that have got deep technical background take this stuff on. And I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
like low code is not going anywhere. Like all that'll happen
No,
is that
not
it's
going
just going to
anywhere.
get bigger. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just going to get bigger. So that's the first piece of advice. The second piece of
Okay.
advice is find the problem. Okay, like
Okay.
think of something that is bothering you or something that you want to solve, right? Like,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
automation is always a good one. Find the
Yes.
problem and then learn the tech. Don't learning the tech without knowing the problem is it's not going to be as easy, but having a
Yeah.
problem to solve is really cool, right?
Yeah.
And then
True.
I think the third piece of advice is like when I start looking at what Microsoft doing,
Okay.
and when you know you want to do this and you start finding the problem to solve, it's like focus on one thing in the beginning.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
don't try and learn everything because no one knows everything except my wife,
Yes. No.
right? Yeah. So like no one knows everything. I
Yeah.
think it's important. I think it's important. Like people get imposter syndrome so often. They're like, oh no,
Yeah.
how,
True.
all these
Happened
people
to me
know this
too.
stuff.
Yeah.
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 You can't know everything. There's no
Yes.
way. This platform is so big. There's no way you can know everything. Like,
Like so big.
yeah. So
Yeah.
my thoughts are just do the thing, right? My friend Donna
Yeah.
says all the time, just do the thing. So do the thing, right? Like get
Yeah.
stuck in, get learning, and have fun. Like this is the platform for the people, right? So enjoy
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Those are the three
Enjoy
things.
yourself.
Yeah.
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 I like that last one. Enjoy yourself. So thank you very much, Chris. Thank you.
That's a
And
pleasure.
yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. And thank you for listening. See you in the next podcast. Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.